In this video, we're going to learn why magnetic switches cannot produce the high-pitched clack sound of a mechanical switch. Just looking at this picture, or looking at these switches, you can tell the bottom one is a mechanical switch, the top two are magnetic switches. Bottom one is a Silverworks Hyacinth V2, and the middle one is a Gateron Jade Max Pro. The top one is an Echo Glare magnetic. Just looking at the springs, you can tell the diameter of the spring of the Gateron Jade Pro Max is twice as wide as the mechanical switch, the Silverworks Hyacinth V2. Even the Echo Glare switch, that spring is basically twice the diameter. The stem size also. Look at the tip of the stem on the mechanical switch. Not only is it thinner than the magnetic switch, it tapers off to an even smaller point. And that tapered stem is maybe like 2 or 3 times narrower than the switch stems of the magnetic switches. Now, smaller objects resonate with higher frequencies. Larger objects resonate with lower frequencies. That's why a bass drum is gigantic and a flute is tiny. So it makes sense then that when you have a switch with a smaller stem, it'll produce a higher pitched sound. And that's why on these magnetic switches, you have to put the magnet down there. And on a Hall effect switch, I guess this magnet has to be a certain size, otherwise you won't be able to detect whether it's moving or not. A TMR switch, in theory, could have a smaller stem size if you had a smaller magnet in it, because it could detect smaller changes in the magnetic field. But no one's done that yet, maybe because of business reasons. It costs too much to try to do that, and they don't know if there's even a market for it. But that's basically why you can't get a magnetic switch currently that sounds as good, or sounds as high-pitched clacky anyway, as a mechanical switch. You can produce pretty good thocky sounds because the stem is pretty wide, and a thocky sound is a low-pitched type sound, so it's not as difficult to produce a thocky sound with a magnetic switch. But to produce a high-pitched clacky sound on a magnetic switch is nearly impossible today, because nobody makes a stem that is thin enough to produce that same high-pitched sound that you hear on a mechanical switch. And here we have the keyboard that I've been making so many videos for, the Monsgeek M1 V5. I've put these 3 switches into the keyboard, and see if you can guess which key has which switch. Try again. Are you ready for the reveal? Gateron Jade Max Pro magnetic, Silverworks Hyacinth V2 mechanical, Echo Glare magnetic. Hear that? High pitched, low pitched, lower pitched.